Well, we're going to keep rolling here with 24th place Greg Moss playing Endeavor 2. Now, this was a very speculative character for a lot of people. Maybe most notably played by the one and only Garrett Brett, who is one of the best, if not the best, UFS/Universes players of all time. But I gotta say, he kind of fell off when Bebop dropped. I'm just saying, you know, results speak a little bit for themselves. So absolutely an unquestionable legacy behind Garrett Brett, and this is one of the characters he chose to play. So there's certainly got to be something there, but let's dive into this deck list specifically, because Greg Moss is the one who did good enough to qualify for the HLC. And so right off the bat, ready, get, set, go, and then seizing in the side. This is what I expected to see a lot more, but apparently I'm getting a lot of feedback from OG players that they don't give a shit about seizing the advantage. I guess they just have enough stun to power over everything. So, but I expected to see a lot more of this. 4 going second, 4 for going first. Maybe a mix for going first, who knows. But this tells me he was on the lower side of the bracket. And then we've got the hard uppercut main boarded. We've got back alley haymaker, the staple. 2 chop. We're seeing a lot of 2 chop. Love this card as far as it being powerful. Like, I love to see people are recognizing how good it is. I hate playing against it. Rapid punches as a 4 of, and then Hellflame Stomp is kind of like the Endeavor only low. It's a +1 low block, and it's a 4 low 4 that has modular stats. A lot of times this is a 6 low 6, and even more times it's maybe just a 4 low 8, and finding out if you got the block or the foundations left. Notably not a punch though, but since we have 4 Texas Smash, so notably not a punch, but it's still a really good attack, and you know, you get the 2 health back with Endeavor when it hits, so it's kind of like a free 4 low 6 or 6 low 4 if you hit with it. So pretty strong in that regard. Hardened Jab, this is something I expected to see from other decks just for extension plays. You know, this was a massively impactful card, of course, in the beginning because of coordinated effort, but even after coordinated effort, this card was everywhere, just from the pure resource advantage it gives. But we're seeing it now get creeped out a lot by stat-based cards like Rapid Punches, Hardened Barrage, stuff like that. So pretty interesting to see it come back, and we have a ton of great high blocks. So this is a big part of that too. It's a +1 high block to avoid Dark Shadow Ruin, to avoid home run comments, to block sound waves even, because sound waves can get big, and sound waves doesn't let you use any speed reduction. So I like this choice, especially considering we're not OGRO, and it's not like all about just, I don't know, pasting people to a wall, right? Like, we're not just trying to pulp people on turn 2. This deck has a lot of back and forth action typically, you know, but you give flexible stats. You're not keyword locked. So this is I've definitely heard a handful of players really theory craft this and see if it's any good. And I think unfortunately Endeavor's just not the best for going second. I just don't think he's like, I don't think he has the sauce. Like the same way that people looked at the Toru 1 and the Toru 2 as like a really good going second character. I don't know. I just, I feel like it's a little too easy to counter his once per turns. Both with like hand trap cards out of nowhere, but just in general by having certain effects on board. But I don't know. This lineup is just super solid Earth lineup. It's all the value shit. You're going to see a ton of rapid punches. You're going to see a ton of back alley haymaker on these symbols. Hellflame Stomp basically replaces Karate Chop as far as like the Ojiro decks go. And then Hardened Jab seems to be replacing the... I guess Jab would replace the Chop because it's also mid. I don't know. But yeah, we're just seeing a little bit of variation here. You got to have Hellflame Stomp. I like the block zones, right? Like +1 mid, +1 high, +1 low. That feels so good. +0 high mainboarded. So For going second, I love these choices. I love that these attacks are great at blocking. So I will say that. I think even if the character is not the greatest choice for going second or it doesn't have like some immediate appeal, it does have two defensive abilities. You know, two fairly impactful once per turns. Good against Electric Jolt, by the way. I guess as long as it's not... Jesus, come on. As long as it's not the fucking drag racers. As long as it's not Jiro playing it, you get to just zero out an Electric Jolt, so that's pretty cool. Other than that, yeah, this is another 22 attack deck. 65 cards, seeing a ton of that. Just more good stuff. One with nature has a 3 of. Nice. Solid card. Just absolutely stable. Revel at his masterpiece. Okay, this has got Endeavor only ability on it to draw 2 cards, so that makes sense. This synergizes with Endeavor 1 the most, obviously, but I think that this ability right here, I thought was going to make more people play Endeavor and Todoroki. People love like Heatwave shit, so I thought that they were going to go nuts for this form, but so far I've been proven wrong. 4 Faith Shield mainboarded. 4, this man said I came to play some defense. He wanted to buck the trend. He wanted to prove the naysayers wrong about playing defense in this format. And I commend the effort. 4 new training methods saying we're not afraid of 4 checks at all. And then 2 brute strength is going to round out our 2 diffs. Again, no 3 difficulty foundations. Pull no punches is nowhere to be found. Not mainboard, not sideboard. We don't really care about that deadlock threat, I suppose. You know, this is just not a format where people are expecting deadlock, and so because deadlock is wasted real estate on a card when there's little to no expectation to make it to deadlock, people didn't run a ton of those cards, and then Broberg got to build a million foundations. Like, people got away with so much building that we haven't seen in other formats. I mean, all but 3 attacks are punches. We don't have... I guess the biggest thing is a lot of these decks don't have a huge momentum use, right? Like, a lot of these decks that aren't playing pull no punches, it's just EX2, and that doesn't feel good enough, but I think it is. I get fucking trashed by EX. I get trashed by exactly that play all the time. If you're gonna play 4 attacks in a turn, you know... If you're gonna play at least 2 cards after you clear a card from your card pool, you start to benefit. I just what's our high blocks? We're too many high blocks. We pulled it because we had too many high blocks. Okay. I can see the threat, you know, like I can see the reasonings behind these choices. It's just so tough for me to get behind because we're playing new training method. The difficulty is not going to be an issue that much of the time. We're all punches. We do have some use for it, but it's only like 5 uses for momentum, so maybe it's not the biggest deal. I don't know. I think he pulled it because of the block zones. It probably is like pound for pound the least necessary. Excuse me, the least necessary high block. What do we have? Snack time. Yeah, it's the least necessary high block, right? So there's that, I guess. I almost sneezed. My allergies are definitely getting to me. Right before live streaming, I had a dog run up to me and just trigger all my allergies. To just redo this one, but Brute Strength, I really like this card a lot. It's got the right block zone, it's got the right block mod for what it is, and it puts tons and tons and tons of damage on stuff. Helps you stay at a deadlock too, I guess. But I really like this choice. This was a card we didn't see a ton of early on, but now that decks are really putting stats everywhere, anyone who can put +2 speed on an attack should probably be running Brute Strength. Like, it just complements it so well. It turns lackluster hands into total kill hands, and we've got Revel, which has a lot of the same work. So there's just a ton of damage pump going on here. So I'm a big fan of this. This is not a deck where you can go down to like 1 or 2 cards in hand against, depending on its stage. You know, if you're looking at One with Nature, Revel, and Brute Strength, that's what, +4 damage every attack. If you have no cards in hand, it's +6 with your character. So yeah, you're gonna die pretty fast if you don't hold some blocks. So I think Brute Strength is really nice here. I don't know if it's strictly better than Revel, technically, just because, I don't know. It's got +2 damage on it when you're like going all in, so that's probably better than the form. Chivalrous is a 4 of. You guys know why Chivalrous is a 4 of. Gonna draw a schmillion cards and discard them to One with Nature, so it doesn't matter if your opponent draws cards. Protects you from flip, protects you from destruction, just solid piece. 1 snack time, pretty interesting. Again, this is another one of those things where like 1 snack time, but 3 One with Nature. When I feel like snack time is like this unsung piece, man. I feel like everyone focuses on One with Nature being a fucked up card when like One with Nature is like a fucked up card that you discard 2 cards on a turn. Like you discard twice throughout like an attack string. Snack time is like a fucked up card if you just discard like once to it, but also if you discard 2, 3, 4. So I don't know. I haven't done all the math, but I have some weird ideas about like how many times you should snack time before you start using One with Nature, and I think you should always start with snack time. It's very weird to me how many times I've seen someone with snack time and One with Nature on board, and they only discard to One with Nature instead. So, yeah, I think pretty soon we're gonna see this go up to a 4 of, and this be like a 1 of. Just especially if we get away from it can't be fixed. I guess I don't know. Maybe that's why. Maybe it's just because of it can't be fixed. For male bonding, this is the face tankiest card of all time. Endeavor, I guess, is a pretty face tanky guy with stuff like -4 damage on it. So that makes a lot of sense. Shock absorption. Once again, this man said, I'm here to play some defense. He's saying, I'm down to block. I'm down to have, you know, his counts as stun hate, I guess. So you love to see that. Very happy to see shock absorption just because it is some speed hate, which means we do plan to block. I don't know how much he got to block, but it does say minus speed on it, so it counts. 3 quick to act. This is his card, so it makes more sense. I've been kind of harsh on this foundation for the other decks, but I mean, Endeavor can control his life total, and he has a high life total to be at less than half of maximum, so makes a lot of sense. And of course, 4 tight-lipped. You know, it's fucking tight-lipped. It kills people with back alley, +1 mid, can't go wrong. And then this is a typo. This is definitely a typo. Nobody would run 3 It Can't Be Fixed, right? Like, this is just a typo, right? Like, we ran 4 of this and it was a typo, so I'm just gonna let it slide. I'm just gonna let it slide. It's a typo. At 65 cards. At 65 cards, this is a typo. If we were like a 52 card deck, you could maybe convince me, but like I'm still running 3 tight-lipped and 4 It Can't Be Fixed, I think. Just because the off block zone is better, I think. I don't know. Maybe in this format it's not. Maybe with Back Alley Haymakers running around, maybe it's not. That card is still really prevalent. But I'm just going to, for my own mental, I'm just going to say this was a typo. Because I would focus a lot more on it. But, yeah, when it comes to Endeavor, I think this is really cool. I think what this deck is really looking for is a carbo loading suite. I think what this deck is looking for is not pull no punches as its 3 diff. It's looking for carbo loading. I think that it is looking for life gain. It's looking for something to offset your own paying life. And so naturally carbo loading would come into play here. And I think it would be like what it's waiting for. I don't think it's something you can do right now. Like obviously there's like only one card in this deck that is gaining life, right? Yeah, there's only there's just Hellflame Stomp when it deals, so you know, it is what it is. I think these decks are pretty cool. Again, it's hard for me not to see this as just an OGRO list, I guess. Like, this looks like there's so many Earth 6-handers that just look like they should be putting +3 speed and +3 damage on something, rather than picking between 2 speed or 2 damage. You know? Like OGRO starts at +2/+2, so choosing to play Endeavor means you're really looking at these defensive enhances, and I just don't see them being as big of a deal, especially when they cost life and you can't gain it. You know, again, I dig the idea of like you wouldn't want to necessarily go second as OGRO or as a lot of these other Earth 6-handers, but like we talked about Death Arms making sense on paper. You know, this might be... this is a tough sell for me. You know, I don't know how much Greg has played Endeavor. I don't know how much he has iterated on this deck. The ratios and the card choices make me think that he has put a bunch of time into this deck. He does have, like, cool tech pieces. But, like, for a deck that's down to play quick to act, and a deck that's going second, I'm looking for learning the standards. I'm looking for an apathetic. I'm looking for, you know, like super regen for a deck like this. Like, pay 2 life, -4 damage, take 2 damage, gain 3. You know what I mean? Like, we took 1 total there. Stuff like that. Like, you know, and again, maybe he's actually played those decks, like those cards, and realized why they don't work. So I can only speculate from my side, but this is looking like another deck where you really wish you were just going first. And we also don't have the... I also think you should run one of Coping with number 1. I also think that, like, we don't have the E-Commit draw card. Like, you know, like, that card's fairly good in Endeavor too, just because you -4 damage something and then draw the card after on the next one. So, yeah, I think this deck is very cool. I love the choices. I love the choices for Death Arms and for this deck as, like, Earth going second. You know, it has a lot of the upside of OGRO. It has, you know, just Earth punches, good shit, all up in your face, makes sense. But man, it's just missing some spice. It's missing some resource management. It's missing some card draws. It's missing just all these things that are super duper important. But I think this is very close to, like, the best Endeavor list I've ever, like you could get. Like, this is the best Endeavor list I've ever seen. And I think it's about as close as you can get to the best Endeavor list. So hopefully in the future, Earth gives him just a new avenue to make his deck look a little more different than Earth punches. But I don't know. What do you guys think? Am I totally wrong? How much have you played Endeavor 2? You know, let me know in chat. Let me know in the comments. What would you switch out? Because, like I said, I'm really looking for, like, a little bit of health gain, some learning the standards, like, something that rewards me for not blocking a bit more and really relying on this -4 damage. But, you know, very cool character choice. Greg Moss definitely stands out on the standings, you know, with this Endeavor pick. And again, I love the idea behind it. I love on paper that going second, you know, I have defensive abilities. You know, I have the face shields. I'm ready to block as an Earth deck. Absolutely love that. Hopefully, in the future, we get to see more of Greg, and maybe he'll be on Endeavor, and maybe we'll see the iterations in the future. So, congratulations for 24th place on Greg. You know, it was really cool to see everyone at the HLC, and I hope to see you at more events in the future.